Hello everyone, how are we doing today? Welcome to part 2 of our DCYA tier list. We're ranking them based on how bad they are. You watched me suffer through these books and now I'm going to actually put them on a scale based on my own personal opinions, of course. But before we get into this, I obviously have to recommend good reading material.
Get a job!
What better reading material that I can recommend than my own comic? Yes, I do my own teen comics, as well as some adult comics, and let me tell you, these do not have the same problems as a lot of these DCYA comics do. It's almost like you don't have to talk down and feed all these teenagers trash. It's almost like you can just write well, write something good and positive. Let's actually look at the list that we currently have. So our categories for the DCYA tier list is so bad that it'll increase the suicide rate, just bad, so bad it's funny, and mildly annoying. Oh, there's actually good too, but I think that nothing will get put there if we're being honest. I don't think I've read an actually good DCYA comic, but we are going to start filling in some of these spots. I see a few comics are getting a tad bit lonely, don't worry.
Let me do it for you. Let me do it for you.
You'll have some company on there soon as we go through the DCYA comics that I have currently read. So, what's first on our list? We've got Galaxy the Prettiest Star! This one was actually pretty recent, I would say. Not good. Very, very much so not good. For multiple reasons. I mean, the first obvious reason is that they completely fumbled a trans metaphor, which is what they were trying to do. Kind of appeared to be an anti-man stance, and it's like, men are the worst, you should just be a woman. I mean, like, the only good human males in this story were aliens, and even they were not, like, the best good people. They had to, like, learn their lesson, or so to speak. Yeah, not a good story. I would put this pretty high up there, obviously, but I don't know if I would put it up at the top, or if I can just put it in just bad, because it definitely wasn't funny, I can tell you that much. This was torture getting through. Didn't have fun reading through this one, but is it so bad that it'll make people commit suicide? I'll put it up here. If I change my mind, maybe I'll give it some grace and put it down a little lower, but this was pretty awful. Congratulations, Nubia, you have some company up there. Next, oh my god, Mara Tidebreaker. Oh god, I forgot about this one. Oh, I forgot I even read this. Burn it! This is the Morbius of DCYA comics. Because it's just so boring, so bland, it's just bad. Quite frankly. I don't even think there's anything really particularly wrong with the story. It's just all about the execution, the art. It's like WikiHow article levels of art. I mean, if I wanted to be generous, I could put it at mildly annoying. I don't know, man. I really did not like this one. I read it so long ago, but the one thing that I remember is just how much I didn't like it. I'm gonna pair this one with Harley Quinn and put it in the just bad. Nothing particularly super, like, politically preachy about it. It's just an absolute pain to read. Mr. Miracle, The Great Escape. Terrible art. Probably some of the worst art in all DCYA comics, and that's saying something. That's saying something. They give you a run for your money. All that being said, it was pretty entertaining to read through this one. This one was pretty funny. For those reasons, I think it's earned its spot on the so bad it's funny part of the tier list. Maybe the writer will be a little bit proud of that, because I think he was actually going for something comedic and ridiculous. I don't know. I don't know what any of these writers are trying to do half the time. The Oracle Code. Okay, this is actually kind of a difficult one to rank. The first half is like such a drag. It's so painful getting through like the first half of this. But once you're past that first half, the ending is pretty funny. If you want to watch a bunch of, like, cripple people beating up a guy with a gun, I feel like I can be generous and put it on the so bad it's funny. It's not that funny, but if you hold out for long enough, you'll soon grow to appreciate the absolute fucking ridiculousness that is the Oracle Code, and wonder to yourself, how could that ever get past an editor who approves of these comics? I don't even know, man. Shadow of the Batgirl. Yeah, this one was pretty mild, gotta say. Just pretty mild. Not good. You would expect me to trash on this for the art. It's not even the worst art, though, on this DCYA tier list. There's a lot of art that can definitely top Shadow of the Batgirl as in terms of badness. Mr. Miracle's probably worse. Gotham High, probably worse. Nubia, worse. Shadow of the Batgirl is, like, pretty mild in terms of its badness, I would say. You can join Black Canary on mildly annoying. It might not seem much, but in the grand scheme of things, I think you'll learn to be proud that you are only a little annoying in the sea of DCYA. Swamp Thing Twin Branches. More like boring twin bitches. Got 'em. This is pretty, like, just bland awfulness. I have no idea what it was going for. I left this comic confused and just feeling like I wasted my time, not only wasting time reading it, but wasting time making a video on it. 0 out of 10, would not recommend. I'll put that on the just bad. If a shitty YA comic can't even entertain me in the slightest, you should be ashamed. Like, if you're gonna be bad anyway, you might as well be so bad that you make me laugh. Next up on the tier list, I'm just gonna bundle these all together, honestly, because it's kind of roughly the same level of writing. Like, you can argue some are better than the others, but it's roughly all the same level, right? So the Kami Garcia Teen Titans books, there are 3 so far that I've read. There's gonna be a 4th one, but it's not out yet, so I can't rank that. These are all about the same level, and that would be mildly annoying. I know some of you might have expected me to say that they were actually good, but I thought about that and I thought, man, that's just too generous. They're just not good enough for me to call them good. Because there's a certain expectation that you get when you say that a DCYA comic is actually good, you know? Not the bestest in the world. And so I'll put in the mildly annoying, because it's not as terribly written as the others are. So that's the best compliment I can give you, really. I've yet to see a DCYA comic that is actually good. I'm starting to think they don't exist. It just doesn't exist. This comic. Never give this comic to your child. Never. I mean it. Don't. I didn't expect Under the Moon, Catwoman tale, to be as bad as it was. But it's a good example of, hey, you can't judge a comic by the preview, because the preview was so much more tame than what ended up being the full book. Under the Moon is completely and utterly morally confused, and I don't want any teenagers reading this any more than I would want them reading, like, Nubia. So I'm gonna put it in the so bad and it'll increase the suicide rate. Like, if we're being real here, I just don't see anything good coming from a graphic novel that tries, even for a moment, tries to justify cutting yourself. Like, what were you thinking? Editors, I know that you, like, tried to put in a scene where you take it back and, like, try to pretend, oh no, she's not justifying that. You try to put that in one page, even though nothing changes about the character. The character doesn't change all the way through. And then at the end of the day, like, what lesson does the other character learn? Oh, she joins a cult! And then I'm supposed to be like, good job. Like I said, morally confused and absolutely horrible. Should be ashamed for even writing it. In fact, maybe you should write a public apology for that book. To all the teenagers that unfortunately read it. Victor and Nora. Oh boy, this is a tough one. I read this a while ago, and I don't really remember it super well. But I do remember it is the same writer as Under the Moon. Yeah, they wanted that girl to work on 2 books, believe it or not. I do remember that this one was better than Under the Moon. It still kind of deals with the whole suicide topic, and it doesn't deal with it that well. Once again, we get a scene where Nora, she wants to commit suicide, right? Because she has a disease or whatever. And they still do it at that angle where she's like, I have the right to commit suicide. I have the right to kill myself. I can do it. I'm a woman. I can hurt myself. That's fine. It's so fucked up. Stop writing that into your story. That was the sound of my heart breaking. At the very least, at least they don't end the story with her committing suicide. At least they do end the story with how it's kind of supposed to end, where, like, he freezes her and he tries to save her life, and he does do it with her consent. I also feel like I remembered the love story being much better, or at least much better compared to all these other DCYAs. So maybe this belongs in the mildly annoying for that alone? It has, like, kind of a happy, or at least a solemnly happy ending. It's also pretty gory for a DCYA book, and I would probably warn most teenagers before reading it that it's, like, got some gruesome imagery in there. It's not funny, and I don't feel like it belongs anywhere up here, so I'm gonna put it in the mildly annoying, because you improved with your second book. You're lucky you even got the chance. There's just one more book to add to the DCYA tier list that I've read that was on the roster, and that would be Whistle! People are always like, hey, why doesn't DC actually make new heroes? Why don't they try to do that? Why don't they try to throw in, like, their own original characters with these writers? Then nobody would complain, right? Because you can't complain about a character changing if we just introduce a new character and then we can start from scratch, right? Let me tell you something. Galaxy was a new character, and Whistle was a new character, and I think these are good examples of why they don't create their own original characters. Because if the writer is not up to the challenge, it doesn't matter. It's not always about changing an already established character. Sometimes it's just about how you did it. It's just about how you wrote it. And if you wrote it bad, then that's it. People won't like it. And that's kind of the case with these DCYA original characters. They're not well written. But I do feel kind of bad. I don't think that the first half of the book is written badly. I think that it was even, like, somewhat, half and half, somewhat promising. And I thought it was, like, one of the more well-grounded DCYA books based on the first half. But then as we got further into it, it just spiraled into chaos, just absolute garbage, real fast, real fucking fast. Tragically, I can't say that this is a good book. It is a little bit humorous, though. If you wanted to read a comic with some self-insert girl who gets dog powers because she really likes dogs, this is where you'll get it. I wouldn't even say it was mildly annoying, honestly. Because, I mean, it was just such a letdown. The further that you got into the book, the more of a letdown it was. And that's what really kills me. Yeah, I'm gonna put in the so bad it's funny aisle. Although, hang on, let me think about this. Because it's not as bad as some of the books on here, but it does have that same level of ridiculousness when it comes to the ending. Where, like, a bunch of dogs literally just lay on top of the criminal and that's how they're defeated. It's so stupid. It's so dumb. You know what? Fuck you. Yeah, so bad it's funny. You don't want to be in this category, you say? Well, write better. Get your shit together, E. Lockhart. You could have done better than this. We both know it. We both know it. I know it and you know it too. You could have written a better story. Some fan fiction. Oh, I wish I had dog powers. Then my life would be so cool. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. There is the updated DCYA tier list. Now, what some of you may or may not know is I actually do have most of these books, I think maybe all of them, actually, in print. Now, some of you might ask, why? Why do you have them in print, dannphan?
I have crippling
What's
depression.
wrong with you? Friend sent them to me so that I could destroy them. So I will be strategically destroying all of these books in print based on how bad they rank on the scale of the DCYA tier list. And that should be a fun video for the future, so stay tuned for that when that comes. So as usual, thank you guys for watching. Comment down below some suggestions for me. Even if you don't want me to read any more DCYA, you have to tell me what to read. I need some recommendations for reviewing, guys. And please, of course, like the video, subscribe so that you get notified of the next videos coming out. Check the description, check the pinned comment. My new comic is out! You gotta get it! Here, some comic ASMR. You like that? Yeah. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time. But till then, bye!
Program restart.